Hi everyone, welcome to the Whiteleyverse with me, Connor Whiteley, for another daily short story. Now, before I start today's story, please remember to like, comment and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new content, and the engagement really helps the Whiteleyverse with the YouTube algorithm. Also, if you want to buy this short story and any of my other fiction, then they're available from all major ebook retailers and at your local bookstore and local library if you requested, and you can order paperback copies from Amazon. Now, here's today's short story. I hope you enjoyed just as much as I did writing it.
Changing Food, Life and Him. Victoria Carver was so done with her ugly, fat cheat of a husband Gary. So today she was more than determined to change up his favorite food, change her life and change her husband for the better. Something that was never going to go to plan, in the twisted former council estate of Hell's Place. She carefully placed her husband's favorite Christmas Eve lunch on their large glass dining room table. The perfectly warm white plate had a freshly homemade Scotch egg made from lightly spiced sausage meat, black pudding with a rich creamy runny egg yolk in the middle. She had made sure it was just right for the cheating bastard, so even the crispy, crunchy outside coating of breadcrumb was just right. Hopefully, the small shards of lead inside were small enough for him not to notice. He was definitely going to moan, berate, and groan at her for not cleaning up all the endlessly wonderful Christmas cards they had received over the past week. She had really liked the ones from her mom, dad, and little brother John. They were covered in cute pictures of snowmen, polar bears, and Santa's elves. They were really cute. The ones from Gary's family were few and far between. Maybe that should have been a warning sign that his entire family had turned their back on him, but she had been in love, stupid, and now she needed to make amends for her blindness. The only Christmas card of note he received was a cute wolf-like pop-up card that sang "Let It Snow" when she opened it. The card was from a work friend, more like mistress, and she was almost relieved. At least she would suffer at some point soon, knowing Gary was punishment enough. Victoria stepped back and just grinned at how perfect everything was for the murder of her husband. The living room with its soft Christmassy jazz playing in the background relaxed her. The wonderful hints of mulled wine, ground cloves and cinnamon filled the room from the boiling pan of homemade mulled wine on the stove, and everything was just so perfect. The 3 Christmas trees were identical, clean, and their baubles were identically arranged. So Gary would be happy, and the red, blue, and orange fairy lights made the baubles glitter from where she had cleaned them so much. And still, he had cheated on her, again and again, with 3 different women in the past week alone. Victoria went into their modern posh gallery kitchen, with their brand new induction hobs. The large black saucepan of mulled wine was bubbling away, with the overwhelming aroma of oranges getting even more intense. And she was so looking forward to the 3 women who cheated with Gary to open their surprise presents this morning. The sticky white front door smashed open, and Victoria rolled her eyes at the shattering of the 3 copper, pink and blue baubles she had carefully hung around the doorframe. That way she could always hear when Gary was sadly home. "Babe, I told you not to put decorations by the door," Gary said. She hugged him and wanted to cough at the awful hints of lemon, grapefruit, and flowers that invaded her lungs. She hated the woman's perfume that he always stunk of whenever he had been cheating on her, and it was even worse that it hid his wonderfully manly musk. "Lunch looks great, thanks," Gary said. The office was really busy. IT problem with the 999 control center, so I was able to fix it. Victoria nodded. That was good news, and that meant no one from his work would be questioning where he was for the next few days. Gary was well known that once he clocked off for Christmas, then no one was allowed to contact him until the 2nd of January. That basically gave her 2 weeks to get away, start a new life, and find a new husband before the police even started to look for her. Gary sat down at the dining room table and sliced into the crunchy Scotch egg. The runny egg yolk poured all over his plate, and Victoria couldn't deny it was great seeing him so happy. "My 3 girlfriends are alive, you know," Gary said. "We managed to discover the poisoned mulled wine you gave them before they drank it. Or more likely, before they touched it." Victoria shivered as a chill ran up her spine. That was impossible. She had been so careful, paid so much attention to detail, and she could not have been caught. "This is amazing, babe," Gary said as he took the first bite and groaned in pleasure. She shook her head. Maybe she had just misheard him because he wasn't concerned or anything, and the orange smell just got even more intense. "How was Jenny, Becky, and Francis this morning?" Victoria asked, going over to the Christmas tree and poking it. Thankfully, the tree was still perfect. She wanted everything to be okay for when Gary died. "They're good, thanks. They loved the mulled wine that you gave them. Truth be told, all of us a little glass before I left." "It was so thoughtful of you," Gary said. "I'm done, by the way." Victoria grinned as she took the plate away and washed it as much as she could. She had already put the bowl, knives, and baking tray that she had used to make the Scotch egg in the dishwasher twice, so no traces of lead could be detected by the police. At least she hoped beyond hope that would be the case. He had finished a little quick, but as long as he had eaten the lead and drunk some of the poisoned mulled wine, then everything would be okay. "We didn't actually drink it, you know," Gary said, standing up. "We found the poison you used to coat the outside of the bottles." Victoria blinked, and Gary was sitting back down, smiling at her. "Babe, are you okay? You keep looking at me weirdly," Gary said, getting up and coming over to her. Victoria hugged him, but he was a disgusting cheat. She hated the sight, smell, and taste of him in her mouth. He was a foul, evil beast that needed to be killed. That would be the greatest Christmas gift to her. Then Gary grabbed her wrist. "The Scotch egg you gave me didn't have any lead in, you stupid old hag." Victoria gasped and tried to back away, but she pulled away too quick and fell backwards. Was Gary even grabbing her? She just looked up at him as he knelt down, and she looked at the small pile of washing up by the sink. This couldn't be possible. There were all the knives, bowl, and baking tray that she had used to make the 2 Scotch eggs, one for him and one for herself. Her eyes widened as she realized what the hell had happened. "I tried to kill you," Victoria said. Gary nodded. I know you did, babe. You've been trying to feed me and the girls who are my best friends and not lovers lead for 3 weeks now. You called it your little advent calendar in your sleep once." Victoria hissed in pain as a headache corkscrewed across her forehead. "I switched one of our dinners once, so you ate the lead, and well, you're showing all the symptoms of lead poisoning, and you have been so forgetful that you've been eating the lead-based ones for weeks now." Victoria shook her head. She had been so focused, so careful, and so brilliant that he had to be lying. Yet the more she thought about it, the more she realized he was telling her the truth. It was perfectly possible that she had been suffering from lead poisoning. She had been fatigued all the time. She hadn't been able to concentrate in weeks, and she had been getting called mad by the neighbor kids for weeks too. Maybe Gary hadn't been talking to her earlier about the mulled wine bottles. Maybe it had been her mind playing tricks on her. "No, please don't kill me," Victoria said. Gary laughed. "Vic, I am not getting you any medical help. I'm a cop. I know how to tell a story. I know how to make sure no one thinks of you as the victim, because you aren't, and you are just an idiot." Victoria tried to stand up, but she couldn't. She tried to move, and she felt something sharp, pointy, and pine-scented in her back. And she rolled her eyes. It was probably just a damn Christmas tree toy that she had decorated some of the house with. She hated Christmas, she hated Gary, and she hated his 3 lovers. Gary knelt down next to her. "Don't worry, sweetheart. I placed that Christmas decoration in your back as you fell. I know your hallucinations are too strong, so you would never feel it or acknowledge it was real." "Did you ever cheat on me?" Victoria asked. Gary kissed her lightly on the cheek. "No, I never cheated on you. I never tricked you, and they really are just my 3 best friends." Victoria nodded and pushed herself onto the Christmas decoration harder, and she screamed out in pain. She wasn't sure if any of this was real or not, so she reached up towards the boiling pot of mulled wine with the choking aroma of oranges invading her lungs. And she knocked it off the stove. The boiling hot wine caught light and flashed blue flames all over the kitchen, oven, and leaked out into the living room floor. The wonderful aroma of burning oranges cloves, and smoldering Christmas cake filled the entire kitchen. Then Victoria blinked, and it was gone. She found herself standing just next to the dining room table, as she carefully placed her husband's favorite Christmas Eve lunch on their large glass dining room table. The perfectly warm white plate had on a freshly homemade Scotch egg made from slightly spiced sausage meat, black pudding with a rich creamy runny egg yolk in the middle. She had made sure it was just right for the cheating bastard, so even the crispy, crunchy outside coating of breadcrumb was just right. Hopefully, the small shards of lead inside were small enough for him not to notice. And as the cycle of madness repeated itself again and again and again, Victoria kept cooking, baking, and trying to poison her husband, but in reality she was only hurting herself. Because in the weirdness of Hell's Place, no one died, no one disappeared, and nothing ever happened without Hell's Place allowing it. So Victoria wanted to change her life, her food, and her husband forever. She certainly got that. She now relived the same moment of madness for the rest of time. She kept eating lead-laced food, and her husband was finally free to find, love, and treasure a woman who loved him back. That was his Christmas gift from Hell's Place, and Victoria's gift was she finally got to kill her husband over and over again in her deluded dreams.
Welcome back everyone, it's me again, Connor Whiteley. So I really hope that you enjoyed today's story, because I flat out love writing, creating stories and sharing them with you. If you really enjoyed today's story, then please remember to like, comment and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new content, and the engagement really helps the Whiteleyverse with the YouTube algorithms. And if you want to buy this short story or any of my other fiction, then they're available from all major ebook retailers, and you can get them from your local library if you requested, and you can order the paperback copies from Amazon, your local bookstore or local library if you request it. Lastly, if you want to support the channel on a one-off basis, then you can now buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/Connor Whiteley. Also, if you know anyone who would enjoy today's story, then please share it with them. I'm always really grateful when you wonderful people help spread the word about the channel. So, thanks for watching the Whiteleyverse, and I'll see you again soon. Have a great day, everyone.